My name is Honorable Smas Ezechine. I'm the GMT Delta State Chapter. Grassroot Movement for Tinubu is a group that was set up to tend the needs of ordinary Nigerians. A GMT, like the name implies, Grassroot. We feel like there is a big gap between the government and the people. And most times, due to government oversight, there's a lot of marginalized people that are only relevant during elections. So we try to bring these people together so they can have a sense of belonging in government, have access to dividends of democracy that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has provided them. Also, with there are lots of programs and lots of programs that they're not aware of, and now it is because there is no direct engagement, and that's where GMT comes in to ensure that citizens know where to go to for their various needs, and also just a door, access, a place to where they have a sense of belonging, for where they can go to, instead of being frustrated and feeling isolated or irrelevant due to your placement, whether high or low. GMT is here to point you in the direction to go, and I feel like it's something that citizens are not familiar with, and it's all credit to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's engagement. Well, it's funny because you cannot decide by yourself to take up a role with this much duties. You have to have a track record of capacity and integrity, and I feel like some players like to be behind the scene. That has been me until I was called upon to take up bigger duties, and I think that is my case. Okay, we have a structure in place from leadership of GMT from the national, under the leadership of Honorable Prince Adebisi Yusuf. We have a structure that reaches our wards from the state to the local government to the ward. This is because we want to make sure that there is fair access from the grassroots to the national. As I speak to you, there's a meeting going on in 4 of the local governments in my state, and we get daily updates on what is going on there. And as much as I receive the information, I forward it up to the national to ensure that we synergize our activities, and that's the same structure that will uphold that will secure the programs and benefit that will come from GMT to the grassroots. So if you listen to our jingles and news and announcements, it is in the various dialects in Delta. It is in Kwale, Soko, Urobo, Ika, Ichekiri, and Izon. Yeah, this is because we want to make sure that the grassroots hears, they listen, they understand, they can even ask questions in their dialect. The reason is because we want to make sure that this hit the grassroots. This is not a campaign. This is not just election alone. We want the people to have a sense of belonging, a sense of connection, so they understand that this is for them. Because, the bridge between the people and the government is so big that, a lot of people don't even try to indulge. You should be able to, you should have access to your leaders. You should have access to, you should know what is being implemented every day. When your office holders resume duty in the morning on a Monday, or the weekend, you should at least understand what is happening there, what they're doing, what they're chasing, what they're trying to do for you. And this communication is something that is very important, because lack of communication gives room for, a lot of misinformation to happen. You should know what your public officers are doing in office by the weekend. This lack of communication gives room for a lot of bad things to fly, bad information, and misinformation is something that thrived, in recent times. So we're trying to just make sure that this gap will bridge it. Well, I remember the Japa syndrome. Realistically, I'll tell you this. Youth wanting to Japa was due to our economic hardship. I don't blame anyone who saw that as a route or solution for the hardship on their personal life. But our economy is recovering. We have an economy that is stable. It's not what we dream of yet, but there's been immense progress. And if hands were not on deck to put this in place, who would do the work? If everyone jackbats and leave this country and come back 20 years after, who is going to do the repairs? The work we leave now will be there waiting for us, if everyone leaves. So I feel like, we should have faith in Nigeria. Many youths who jackpot and complain about unemployment and co, they've not even tried Nigeria. There's so many things that works here. We've not even knocked on doors. We've not even tried to see the possibility of anything working out. And there's so many programs that are wasting, so many programs that has been there, even in agriculture and SMEs and all those things. Nobody is accessing. They are there. So I feel like, yes, I understand why there's need for that, for people to want to leave the country, but not anymore. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is a man that loves, he loves the youths. He is creating, and he has created even, an environment where the youth can prosper, in tech, agriculture. Like, let us just try Nigeria a bit, at least before giving up. That's what I think. Women are the bedrock of our society. There is no society without women. And with the reserve seat bill currently at the National Assembly, it is mandatory that it is only right that we support women as much as we can. That's why we have the president's daughter, Alhaja Folashade Tinubu as one of our directors at the national level. So we emulated the same thing at the state. We brought women on board from the units to the wards to the local government and state executives, and that's what we're running with, and we're working towards sustaining the same structure even after the election. Well, I'll tell you this: GMT is under the national leadership of Honorable Prince Adebisi Yusuf. If you know him, you know he's a man of character, a man of integrity, a man that has a track record of, fulfilling promises, and he doesn't make much. So for a man like that to tell you that, to run with this narrative, to go to bed, he's a no-nonsense person. So you can't bring nonsense around it. You can't bring false promises around it. So we are moving based on this movement is built on the principles of integrity, and I feel like that is something that is not common in today's politics, and it's something that you can really bank on. That's why we're here. Well, I feel like there are so many words that can be said about this, so many promises that can be made today, so many things that we can say to answer this. But what I would just say is for Nigerians to watch out for the people that would be just watch out for the people that will be members of GMT today in the next couple of years after the election. I feel like that will answer the question. Okay, the truth is, I did a survey in the 3 senatorial districts in Delta State, and I'm not going to go in detail, but what I'll tell you is that the general complaint that we received were the feeling of abandonment, they do not. There's a disconnect between the government and the people, and that's why GMT presence is there to build the bridge, to build the gap. I mean, we're not fighting anyone, but like if there are citizens who citizens should have a sense of entitlement, especially after elections, when they vote their candidate in office. I feel like there shouldn't be a wall blocking them from seeing their people, their leaders. They should have access is something that is lacking, and that is why GMT is here. I'll tell you what, all the information that we received from the grassroots went up to the national. All the complaints and the good remarks, everything goes up to the national to ensure that we do not just look ignorant of the feeling of citizens. So yeah. Okay, yeah, if you listen to our jingles, we made them in the various dialects. Is in Kwale, Isoko, Yoruba, Izon, Shekiri. The reason is because we want the grassroots to understand what is going on, not just campaign now. We want them to understand, what GMT is doing, what they can benefit from GMT. We want them to see this grassroots movement for Tinubu as, as a guide to their grievances. And it will surprise you to know that the gap between the government and the people gives room for a lot of misinformation, and it is because there is no frequent interaction from the grassroots. And this is where GMT comes in. We're not just coming to tell you, oh, election is by the corner, come and do this and that. No, we want you to understand that even the things that bothers you, your grievances, and the things that you're unhappy about, and the things you would like to see differently in your community, you don't need to be educated. You don't need to speak English. You don't need to, you don't need to even know your leaders directly for your message to get across, to where it's supposed to be. And that's why GMT is here to enable that, build that bridge and enable inclusivity. Okay, it is okay to not belong to any political party. What is not okay is to fight for the Nigeria that you want to see. You don't need to be a member of any of the parties, but you should. It is unpatriotic to not vote. If you do not like the policies of a certain leader, you should be able to say that with your voter's card. The fact that ordinary citizens have abandoned the affairs of government for politicians is something that doesn't speak well. It doesn't speak well about patriotism. It doesn't speak well about your love for your country, So it is unpatriotic to abandon government affairs, when you can be the change that you want to see. Yeah, I don't like to speak about the coalition because my opinion on that will not be aired right now. But what I'll say is charity begins at home. You cannot be telling millions of Nigerian youth to come support you, stake their lives for you, when you have family members who are still in the APC, benefiting or securing their offices of the hard work of the leadership of the APC and President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So we feel like I don't take that seriously because it is not my life or the lives of the common man that will be used as as a tool. If you're really serious about a movement rescuing Nigeria, like they mostly say, your children should be looking forward to. In fact, they should be the champion of your campaign. So until that happens, I don't take that seriously. If you see what's happening in the in our youth wing today, we're putting a lot of work into media and online space, even positive propaganda. The reason is because in the last election, we're so grounded and focused on offline task. I mean, the grassroots field works, as long as you have your realistic voters, nobody cares about the number of people that are piling up on a group chat and discussing, because it is numbers, it is votes that get your candidate in office, not online propaganda or banters. But that also gave room for a lot of misinformation to fly, a lot of lies, a lot of negative perceptions were portrayed on innocent individuals. So this time we're trying to, as much as we're doing the grassroots work, we also want to make sure that we give no room for misinformation and lies to stand. So, I mean, this all boils down to the whole opposition and coalition. We're not focused on that. We're focused on returning President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to office. And we're not going to lie about it. We're not going to, manipulate people around it. We're not going to indulge or engage the lives of innocent citizens or use them as pawn to achieve that, like we're seeing a lot of people do. We will win with the truth. We will win with transparency. We will win with honesty. And come 2027, by the special grace of God Almighty, we shall celebrate the re-election of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. My vision for GMT is to build a movement that is accountable to the people, a people-centric movement that can deliver dividends of democracy to the people through the electoral officers. We're not watchdog, but we want to be able to point our people in the direction that where their needs will be met based on the promises that have been made. So, yeah, a movement that simplifies government instead of making it look like rocket science to ordinary citizens and leaving them frustrated and isolated after election. That's my vision for GMT. GMT, investment plan for Tinubu, is coming across all the states in Nigeria. For Delta, we are fully set up. We are just, waiting on some, stakeholders to be acknowledged before we kick off certain things. But notwithstanding, we've made remarkable progress. So you can check our website on gmtdeltastate.ng. Our numbers are there on the website. You can register as a member and feel free to ask about anything, no matter how uncomfortable things. We want to hear about the questions. A couple of days ago, one of the women leaders in our local government, she complained so much about taxations. You mean by January? You know how like my Delta women can be now. Some of them, she was like, now I can collect money where they my account. 2026 tax law, this and that. Now what did they tell me? And I educated her. I told her some things. Although the local government coordinator at the time was deleting her post. I said, no, I want to hear it. And after educating her, she was surprised. I said, no, I could have allowed the LG coordinator, delete your comment, but you will not be satisfied. So the same grievances that you just showed, I want you to go and educate other people as well. Tell them what this means, the realistic meaning, not the highlighted shortcomings that people are, citizens, some unpatriotic citizens of the country are, publicizing or emphasizing on to make it look like that's the reality. No, this is what cross-check, verify. The data and facts are there. And if it's not the same, come and hold me accountable. She went back and she was like, oh, I'm so happy. Thank you, bros, and all that. But like, these are the things that we're talking about, misinformation. That's why we're putting in a lot of work. We're working on the ground, working online to ensure that, we achieve success.